So, welcome to episode 3 of our sidebar podcast discussions. We'll get our special guests along to chat about their specialist subject, what the things they do, their passions, anything else, whatever really. But it's a more dedicated kind of form of pod rather than our usual kind of news roundup and rambling politics discussions. So yeah, previously we've had James Copper, ADHD expert, who was brilliant, and then we had teenage viral sensation Will Kerridge was on our last one, who became really well known for taking down Richard Tice in Westminster Hall, which was amazing. And today we've got the excellent Emma Monk joining us. Welcome, Emma.
Hooray!
So yeah.
Hi, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, I don't know if you spend much time on Twitter or Facebook, Substack, you might well know Emma, because she's quite well known for her debunking of the culture wars and the fake news and anything else, I guess, really. But we'll come on to that in a minute. I'll put a link into your Substack and obviously to your podcast that you're doing with Bear, which we'll talk about again in a minute as well. We'll put all that in down below.
Perfect.
But yeah, so welcome along. Firstly, that's Sal. If anyone listens to our regular podcast, you'll know Sal. And
Hello.
Hi, I'm Don. And this is Emma. If you want to just kind of tell everyone a little bit about yourself, and then before we crack on with it, that'd be cool.
Yeah. So hi, I'm Emma Monk. I have a Substack called Monk Debunks. Yes, that is my name, and yes, it works really well.
Yeah, it does.
for the
I was going to ask if you married first or picked the podcast title and found a husband. But...
Yeah, no, married first.
Yeah.
So yeah, my background, I'm a scientist by background, a molecular biologist, and a geneticist, freelance science researcher. So sort of all my background was in science.
Mm-hmm.
And then I kind of got into online writing in 2017. I got kind of radicalized by Brexit, as so many of us did.
As a lot,
had very little interest in politics or really given much thought to politics until then. And it was one of those wake up calls where you go to bed going, yeah, but people won't be that daft. And then you wake up and you're like, oh my God, what just happened?
The world changed.
It did. So yeah, I sort of got into online campaigning. I got involved in all the sort of Grassroots for Europe stuff. I helped set up my local, New Forest for EU. We haven't done it for a while. Anyway, you know what I mean. The grassroots stuff.
Campaign stuff, yeah.
Yeah. And then ended up writing letters that all the various different grassroots groups sent to their local MPs, and I just kind of got into sort of online writing. And then 2020 obviously hit, and COVID hit, and my husband was working on a drug that was being developed for COVID. Well, it was being developed prior to COVID, and then very quickly they pivoted to turning it towards COVID.
Right,
so COVID was quite prominent in our household from sort of early February onwards. So when everyone else was, barely sort of like, oh, there's just this weird flu thing.
Yeah.
We were already talking about, meetings with WHO and all sorts.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So sort of very early on, I was obviously very online, as we all were, and seeing a lot of the COVID misinformation and just going, that's not right. And obviously my background as a molecular biologist meant, I'd used PCR as my day-to-day tool for 5 years. So when people were going, the PCR lies, it picked, it's like, no, I do actually know what I'm talking about. Like, this is, so yeah, started debunking a lot of that stuff. And then through my kind of the European campaigning things, a group of us were trying to sort of tackle the misinformation together. We had Facebook groups and all that. And then I was asked to write for what was then West Country Bylines became West Country Voices. And so my online Twitter threads of debunking various COVID misinformation, I started writing them as articles, and just sort of it went from there. One of them got picked up by BBC, more or less, the stats program. So I, went on and did one of my debunks with them. And then obviously as COVID became less of an issue, and then we had, the Tory government and everything that was going on with that, and my
Yeah.
debunks became more sort of political. So I still do
Yeah.
the science ones occasionally, but there's
Yeah.
just so much out there in media and politics that need debunking that's where my passions have led.
It's a difficult arena for believers of science, isn't it? This era we're in.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is.
It's quite scary when you see what's something you're like, no, what? How? Eh?
Yeah,
I know.
that's me most weeks on the pod.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
I just say it all
exactly.
the time myself. And, you put out, I do like a bit of fact checking, but I write more commentary. But you just see in the replies, people sort of say, well, they come at you with all these sort of screenshots of weird things. You go, but that's not true. And I've proved that it isn't true in my post, but you haven't read it. But then they're going, no, but it is true. We believe this. So we think this is true. You're like, oh my God.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. It's as objectively
empirically
not true.
untrue. Yeah.
So it's just like it's not you have your facts and I have my facts. There are facts, and that we can disagree on opinions and on who's the greatest singer or sure, all those things. That opinions are great, but but when there is an actual fact, then it's not a both sides thing.
But that doesn't that. From my point of view, I think that came from Brexit. No, because particularly people like the BBC were desperate for balance, but their overreach for balance led to them putting on like, I don't know what. There's a famous one that James O'Brien always talks about. I can't remember who it is though, but putting on some sort of opinion person off of the telly against a World Health Organization scientist to try and balance it out. And so then people were like, well, what he says might be true, but this person who's the guaranteed scientific expert, you're like, listen to that one, not to that guy.
Yeah. And also what he says might be true, and I quite like it because that means I don't have to worry so, that particularly with the COVID misinformation, the crap that was being put out there was quite reassuring to a lot of people. They wanted to hear that COVID's not really that bad and, it's all just big government overreach because that made them feel safer than going, it's actually really quite a horrible virus. And we do actually all have to stay inside and,
have to be careful.
Protect our loved ones. And it will pass, but it's not going to be fun in the process. That's a harder and, to grasp. And more unpleasant to grasp than the guys who are going, no, it's all just a scam. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, reality is a bitch sometimes, but you have to accept it, unfortunately. That's a problem.
Yeah,
I know. So do you do this full time now? Are you still being a scientist in your day job? Are you writing?
Yeah, no, largely I'm doing this most of the time. I still do the occasional freelance job elsewhere, but yeah, no, this cool. is kind of what I'm doing now.
Excellent.
I am sort of branching out things that what's come out of my writing is I've started running workshops. So I did a debunking workshop for a conference in Manchester last year, I've got a couple coming up this year, possibly one with students as well.
Cool.
Did a talk for my local WI on understanding how the media landscape has changed. So sort of branching out into more in real life things, and I'm developing a kind of a debunking media literacy skills course that hopefully people can sort of who are interested in this sort of thing, what to look out for, where to go to find decent information, what kind of all that stuff. So
that's the sort of thing that should be on the curriculum now.
Yes,
I agree.
Yes, and that's where I would like it to go. I mean, I haven't got any speciality with teaching young people other than that I have a couple of young people in my household. So so for now I want to do just a general course, but then I would like to tailor it to young people eventually, because I think it's so important.
Because it really is, and especially like with what's happening at the moment with the war, the misinformation that we're seeing is just off the charts, right? I've never seen anything like it. It's been growing and growing, but I think it'd be absolutely crucial to put something into sort of kids' lives, schools, that could teach them that critical kind of objective thinking skills to sort of take a step back for a second and go, actually, that seems bizarre, so let's have a look at it. Whereas so many people now, I find, hey, Grok, is this real? And then that's their acceptance of everything now.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Yeah.
but
and of course, Grok uses social media predominantly to decide if it's real. So if lots of people have been saying it, then Grok goes, yes, people on X have been saying da-da-da-da, and it's like, yeah, but they were lying. So that doesn't show it.
An AI scraping itself for data isn't exactly going to produce accurate results. No.
Slightly off topic, and I am saving it for recording later. Did you see what they've done with the Pokemon Go thing?
I saw something. Oh yeah, you put a post out earlier. I'd had a quick look at it, but I've been busy today. But
I haven't seen
they've been using it for scraping real world data.
That was a way of a company building a map for their robot delivery system.
Yeah,
really?
they've used. I think they've used it, haven't they?
Oh wow!
Here's a fun game. Go and do all this work for us. Outrageous.
Yeah. Oh wow.
But yeah, more on that later.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think. I mean, are you coming across stuff like that when you're looking into stuff, Emma? Because I am. I've noticed things like, obviously big tech's embedded in everything that we do, but they're selling it as one thing and using it as another. Are you seeing that in what you do as well?
Yeah, I think so. I can't think of particular examples, but yes, yeah, it is terrifying what is going on, as you say, sort of underneath the surface. But then you end up sounding like a conspiracy theorist when you say things like that.
I know.
See, I don't think you do, because of everything we found out. There's nothing off the table now.
Yeah.
No, I agree. But it seems to have pivoted in like you said, 5 years ago, the stuff that we say, everyone would go, no, don't be silly. That's ridiculous. Whereas what we're doing now is correct. But reality seems to have pivoted that the default is to believe the rubbish rather than the reality. It's really weird. We're in a really strange kind of dystopia at the moment, which I don't think a lot of people are realizing. So,
no, I think if you're, if you're the sort of, oh, I don't do politics, or oh, it's too difficult, I don't listen. Which, I get it. I get people.
The majority of people
outside of what we do. But then, you do end up sounding a bit like a crazed loon when you're going, no, things are way worse than you think they are. And then, I'm sure it'll be fine. I think we have a natural tendency to kind of go, oh, it can't be that bad. It won't be that bad. And I feel like we're living in a very slidey slope towards, no, really, everyone is now going to see it really is that bad at the moment.
So I kind of got onto it sort of after they dispatched Corbyn. Well, sort of 2016 Brexit, and everyone was rubbishing him, and I couldn't get a straight answer as to why everyone was rubbishing him. And this was before I was on Twitter or properly into politics like I am now. Oh God, I've totally lost my thread. What was I talking about?
Rubbishing Corbyn.
And then the reality of...
So I then realised what was coming down the tracks, because I'm disabled, so I was like noticing austerity much earlier than most people did. And I'm going, look what they're doing. And I thought everyone would be like, oh, that's terrible. Nobody gave a fuck. Nobody could have given a shit.
Yeah.
I was talking about it everywhere, because I'm like, have you seen what they're doing? Have you blah, 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 blah. Oh, shut up. You're right. You're not well. Everyone told me I was mad. And I've lost my initial thread again. Sorry, I am not well at the moment. I'm so burnt out, Emma.
That's fine.
What am I trying? What's the point I'm getting that done? I'm sure I've made it before.
I think we're just saying like people are still unwilling.
Sorry, that was where I was going with it, because I used to talk to everybody about it, and everybody would be like, "Yeah, all right." Now, everywhere I go, I try not to talk about it, because busman's holiday, and every taxi driver, every one of them will end up talking to me about politics, and I don't bring it up deliberately. So that's how we know. People have found out now. That's where we are.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sorry about that. My head's very messy.
So I was going to ask you, Emma, do you have like a plan of action? Do you set out, like, have certain things that you look at or you want to look at in your mind and then sort of tackle them one at a time? Or Like for me, I just wake up every morning, walk downstairs, get a coffee, turn Twitter on, and then I've got 30 things to write about in my head immediately because the world's completely batshit. Is that the same with you, or do you have a more
unfortunately,
structured plan of action?
that is the same with me, and I really need to work on a structured plan of action. Because I like you, I'll have my cup of tea, I'll go through Twitter, and I'm like, bookmark. Need to look at that, and then I'll pick one. And then something else will come in, and I'm like, and my thing is, as I say, it's debunking, it's fact based. I will never just say, well, that's not true because of this. I will say that's not true because of this, and here is the website, here is the evidence, here is the screen. So all my debunks take a really long time.
Yeah, a lot of work.
And I'm always in awe of you. There's a whole load of, not a whole load, a group of us who do similar sorts of things, and you seem to come out with things so quickly, and I'm like, oh no, it takes me hours to pull all this stuff together.
I can type really quickly. But
and then trying to work out what I'm going to do for a Substack piece, which will be obviously really in depth, really all the source, everything,
a lot of research,
and what I can just bang out as a Twitter debunk, and then if that takes off to But there's just so much stuff out there, and staying focused on, on one thing when notifications are coming in. I'm like, that Daily Mail headline's not right, or that, Telegraph can't say that
every day.
Yeah, and it's every day.
Yeah. When Sal and I started the pod last year, is it coming up to a year? Next month,
Nearly,
isn't it?
Yeah.
We're almost at a year now. And
wow.
At the beginning, we were like, do you think we'll have enough to talk about?
Yeah.
We got enough. We could do it every day. We could do rolling news probably. But we did a live stream on, what was it, New Year? Christmas Eve.
Eve, I think, wasn't it?
Christmas Eve?
Day before Christmas Eve?
Yeah, the day before. But we ended up going to about 2 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, wow.
we just kept going, and we just ran abba. I think the wine probably helped a bit, but
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But there is just so much to cover.
It is. It's too much.
It's relentless.
I'm trying to do Twitter, which is where I'm getting most of my traction, obviously, and then I'm writing on Substack as well. And my drafts folder in Substack, I've started now. I've got like 15 different articles that I've started, and then something pulls me away, and I'm like, oh God, I've got to go back and finish that one. But then something else is more important, like you just said. It's just the chaos, I think it is, that's happening around us. It's like a maelstrom of chaos all the time that you have to try and pluck little bits out and go, right, that's important. Let's talk about that. Yeah, it's really, really
and
difficult.
Also, I mean, I don't know about you. I'm assuming similar to me. You do this because you care, because you care about the disinformation that's out there. You want people to have access.
We
to the right
all deserve
information.
better.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And
100%.
People sort of say to me, how can you do this? It would make me so cross. It's like, no, I do it because I'm cross, and this is how I deal. This is how I deal with my feelings around it. I look at it and I'm like, the usual thing is, well, that doesn't sound right, which is usually my cue to, right, let's go and work out what's actually going on.
Yeah.
And then once I've worked out what's going on, it's like, well, I need everybody else to know this. I can't have people believing that, because that's not true.
Yeah.
It demonizes this group or that group or the other. But in order to get any traction, you have to get your stuff out quickly, because everything moves on so fast.
That's
so
it, exactly.
If I start debunking something and it takes me, something else is going on in my life or whatever, and then sort of 2 days have gone past, so there's no point in doing it now, because
news cycles moved on.
It's only and it's only going to get picked up on the algorithm if it's stuff that's happening right now. And as you say, with all your drafts, you start debunking, and then if it doesn't happen quick enough, you have to be on to the next thing.
Yeah, it's one thing I am like, my son gets me up at stupid o'clock in the morning, like 5:30 every day. So I have this bonus time in the mornings where I come downstairs. So before anyone else is awake, that's why I can get stuff out normally, because I'm not normally downstairs at the kitchen, in the kitchen table at like 5:30 in the morning. So
okay,
yeah,
my sons are at the other end of the spectrum. They don't get up.
I've been waiting for that for years, but he's 12 in like 3 weeks, and he's still not getting up. So he still gets up at middle of the night. So
you won't have that forever, I promise.
No,
people have been saying that to me for 12 years.
You might miss it.
Well, the thing is, when I go away, if I ever go away on my own for a break or something, I just wake up at 5:30 automatically now. I can't sleep past 5:30 anymore. It's just
fair enough.
preconditioned now because it's been 12 years of it. So, but
yes,
it's not the worst thing in the world.
Well, give it another 3 or 4 years, and they'll be getting you up at midnight to come and pick them up. And
yeah, and then I'll be waking him up at 5:30. Get up!
Yeah.
You say that though. None of my son's friends drink.
Don't know.
Oh, okay.
I'm not complaining, but very different to my generation.
I think it is a big difference.
Thank goodness.
It's changed. Yeah.
I mean, mine both do, but not anywhere near the levels that
like
we
did,
and lots of their friends don't. And you know, they can be really quite wholesome. It's
yeah, that's nice.
Yeah,
yeah, it's definitely changed. Well, also so bloody expensive to drink nowadays. It's absolutely insane.
Yeah.
You know, 6, 7, upwards of £10 a pint, depending on where you live, and it's just you can afford that. So may as well get used to. Oh yeah, Clacton was cheap, wasn't it? Sal and I went for a trip to Clacton. Yeah. Well, the Wetherspoons
the Mirage.
Was cheap, yeah, the Mirage Farage.
Yes, Mirage hunting.
How do we get onto Wetherspoons in Clacton? See what I mean about rambling? We just. I'm just looking at my notes. Yeah, so you're now sort of doing your pod with the bear, which I've listened to. I really like it. So how did that happen? You just connected over social media and.
Yeah, so I had been a big fan of his writing, as a lot of us had been for a while.
Yeah,
awesome.
And then he is amazing. And then kind of out of the blue, maybe this time last year, maybe April, something like that, he messaged me on Twitter and said he was a big fan of my writing. And I was like, nice. That's quite exciting. Nice.
Yeah, that's cool.
So we sort of, we chatted online for a little bit. And then a number of people kept sort of saying to me, you should do a podcast, you know, we'll get more people to hear about what you're doing, you should do a podcast.
Yeah.
I kept thinking, well, a podcast doesn't, I couldn't see how a podcast would work with just me talking about stuff. And then I just had a dream one night that him and I did a podcast. So I sent him a voice note the following morning and went, really random. And, you know, just thought I'd put it out there. Amazing. I had a dream last night. We did a podcast and it worked really well. And he replied and went, yeah, that'd be a really good idea. And for lots of reasons, it didn't happen for a while. And then, at the start of this year, we were having a chat. We wrote a Substack piece together. We collaborated on a piece on weight loss drugs back in October, I think. And we'd been chatting and we've met up and had a drink and gone to a politics show in London and stuff. And then, we just sort of went, right, let's give it a go. And managed 3 episodes, and then his life kind of got a bit turned upside down. And so it's all sort of on pause at the moment, but
on
hoping
hold at the moment,
to start again at some point in the not too distant future.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a bit like Sal and I. We just
You've never taken
chatting.
me to a politics show.
Sorry. we went to Clacton-on-Sea for a weekend.
What are you complaining about?
I know. But yeah, we were the same, weren't we? We just sort of kind of knew each other a bit online, and then I put a post out saying I was thinking about starting a podcast on my own, and then Sal messaged me, and then the next day I think we WhatsApp, didn't we? And I think we started.
I said to you it was on the tweet. I said, I've been looking for someone to do a podcast. Do you want to do
that? Yeah.
And we started DMing, and that was that.
Yeah, and then started the next week, I think, didn't we? So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, nice.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, so do you know who the bear is then? You got his real identity.
We've met in real life.
Oh yeah, you just said, of course. Yeah, you must, unless you had a mask on, yeah. Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He's like Banksy, except people know who Banksy is now.
Yeah.
Well, the person they're saying it isn't Banksy.
Oh, is it not?
I know who. No, Banksy's 3D from Massive Attack. That's who the real Banksy is. Robin Gunningham is a patsy for Banksy. I know this because I know people in Bristol who know Banksy. So
You've just blown him right up now.
Everyone
so he had
knows it in
anonymity,
Bristol.
then he didn't, but he
No,
did.
everyone
and now
in Bristol knows who he
doesn't.
is. Everyone in Bristol knows him.
Oh, well,
My
that's
dad-
fine then.
My dad used to drink in his dad's pub it was called the Nova Scotia in Bristol. My dad used to drink there. So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway. Sorry. Again, rambling.
It's my fault. Sorry.
So you're going to crack on with your pod then when Bear's feeling
Yeah,
a bit better and
I hope
yeah.
so. Yeah, he's just changed jobs, so he needs to.
Sort
I mean, I'm not
sort
saying
all
that
that
he
out.
doesn't put out on his own Substack. So yeah, he needs to bed in, and yeah,
fair
unfortunately,
enough.
his father passed away recently in South
Yeah.
Africa, so he's been dealing with
Upheaval.
that. And so yeah, it was like let's not do a podcast that takes many hours of both our times while this is all going on.
No, need a bit of a break, definitely.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Because yeah,
The news isn't going away, so don't worry.
No, exactly.
Well, this is
exactly.
it. Yeah.
And as we found,
I wish it would.
Yeah. It takes a lot, as we've already talked about. It takes a lot of research to sort of debunk properly. So yeah, it takes a while.
Yeah.
But it was, you know,
It
it's fun
does.
to do, and definitely want to do more of it. But yeah, we both need to be in the right place for that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, well, I'll put a link in, as I said earlier, in our show notes to that, and when I put it out, we'll link to it. So, yeah, everyone listening and watching should go and check it out for sure. So, I wrote down in my notes, I said, who's the worst proponent you think for fake news? And then I said, why is it the Daily Telegraph? But I kind of answered my own question a bit. Because I think they're absolutely insane at the moment. But what's your opinion on those guys in the media?
I think the problem with the Daily Telegraph is I suspect there are still people out there who think that it's sensible because it once was.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, we all know that the Daily Mail is not sensible and that the Express is not sensible, never has been, you know, has its big agendas, and they don't hide that. Whereas I think a lot of people, you know, grew up thinking that the Daily Mail, that the Daily Telegraph was, you know, a
paper of record.
Yeah, exactly. And so many of the stories that I debunk, they've all started in the Telegraph. It's always the Telegraph puts something out and then the others run with it.
That's right, yeah.
And, you know, sometimes the Express and the Daily Mail might go with a more sensationalist headline or whatever, but it's always come from the Telegraph. And yeah, it's, and I think there's also the sort of the links between the certain politicians and the Telegraph. They're very intertwined.
That's where Boris started.
Yeah. And so there's a lot of politician says this, Telegraph posts it as fact and correct, and you know, it is what it is, and then it's like, no, that you just based that on one person's views and it wasn't true.
Yeah, exactly.
So I did a debunk last year when do you remember when Heathrow shut down for the weekend because of
the battery thing?
There was a fire at the substation. And so they didn't have enough electricity, and so Heathrow all shut down, and all of the media was reporting it like this. And then sort of halfway through Saturday afternoon, the Telegraph put out a thing saying net zero to blame for Heathrow shutdown. I was like, that doesn't sound right. As I said, that's always my clue. That doesn't sound right. And I had seen earlier Richard Tice had put out a clip of him on GB News saying that Heathrow had replaced some of their generators with biomass. So I'd replaced the diesel generators with a big biomass one, and that was the reason that Heathrow couldn't function. Now, all the rest of the media and all the people, you know, senior people at Heathrow were all saying Heathrow cannot function on the generators. Doesn't matter what's fueling them. When we have a major power outage, you know, everything goes off. We have to land the planes safely, divert everything else, get people off the flights, get people out of the airport. And that's what the generators are for, not to run a flawless, normal Heathrow schedule.
The Prada shop or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. And so some of the diesel generators had been replaced with one sort of new-fangled biomass one. But that wasn't the issue. But Richard Tice saying it had then become the Telegraph headline, and it starts with Richard Tice says, and then over the day, you could see how the headline changed. Because if you go onto like Web Archive, you can see how the actual article changes. So it had started in the early hours of the morning with major fire at Hayes substation, blah, blah, blah. The next one was about Heathrow shutting down. And then suddenly the next one was all about net zero. And then by the end of the day, Richard Tice was using the Telegraph article on Twitter to go, see, I said it was net zero. And it's like, yeah, you can't use that. They're saying it's net zero because you said it was net. Literally nobody else has said it's net zero.
And round and round it goes.
Yeah, exactly. So it's that pipeline of something on social media gets printed by the print media, and then social media uses the print media to back up what they, and it's just, it's never ending.
I mean, no, absolutely. I mean, Richard Tice is a huge proponent of fake news, I find, and like, I'll maybe speak to that in a minute. Sorry, Sal, you're going to say something?
No, I was just going to ask if either of you two knew. I've only just discovered that the editor of the Daily Telegraph is Chris Evans. Busy fella.
What, Captain America or
I was going to say,
TGI Fridays?
I assumed the Billy Piper one.
No.
Anyway, they've just been sold to a German conglomerate, haven't they?
That's right, yeah.
But they're not taking any editorial control. So where does the Telegraph's editorial control now come from?
Well, I assume it's
just
the editorial team that is there will remain in place, but I don't know that for sure. So it might be worth looking into.
It's an interesting one, isn't it? If they've got no interest apart from being like a holding company.
Yeah, worth looking at. I'll have a look at that at some point and see if I can work it out. But yeah, I don't know. But yeah, big German company bought it for about 750 million, I think, last week, wasn't it? So,
I mean, not the worst outcome.
No,
definitely.
A lot of people
leaves more question marks than anything.
A lot of people said they were a bit sort of pro-European, so that might conflict with the
more so than anyone else
Telegraphs.
wanting to buy it.
Well, yeah, for sure. So I don't know.
And I think that's part of the problem is that the people who buy the Telegraph, have come to believe what the Telegraph tells them. So if the Telegraph were actually to start not telling them this stuff, then, they risk their readership not buying it.
Yeah, that's true.
Who wants to be lied to? Apart from people whose financial interests are served.
They don't think they're being lied to. They believe it because
this is the difficulty.
But it's so frequent. They must pick up on it eventually. You see, when I'm lied to, I'm insulted.
Yeah, but they don't.
Is that just me?
They don't see the corrections or the debunks or we all live in our own bubbles, particularly with online and social media and what have you. We all see what our algorithm shows us, and we often go out and see what other people are saying because we need to debunk it. But for the vast majority of people, they're just happy seeing whatever the algorithm shows them. And most people who read the Telegraph or who read the Daily Mail won't see our debunks of those articles.
No.
And I a lot of people will sort of say to me, "Oh, what's the point in what you're doing? No, the people who need to read it won't read it." And actually, where I've got to is a lot of people respond to me and say, "Thank you for that. I thought that didn't sound right. Now I understand. When my mum brings it up at dinner next week or whatever, I am better prepared to argue back." So
it's
I
just
kind
chipping
of
away. Yeah, exactly.
I sort of see myself as providing a service for other like-minded people, but who don't have time to do what I do.
Providing ammunition.
Who can then, when they're talking to their colleagues or their friends or their parents or uncles or whatever, can go, yeah, that wasn't actually, when the uncle turns up going, immigrants got mobile phones or whatever, then they can go, yeah, that wasn't exactly what happened. Actually, and because we're never going to change people's minds online. I can think of three. I can think of 3 examples in however many years I've been doing this now, where I've changed someone's mind on one thing. And I'm incredibly proud of those 3 examples. But
that's pretty good.
The amount of time I put into this, it would have been nice if I'd changed more. So, we're not going to do it online. Everyone's stuck in their, But you don't know how many people who, aren't going to go, oh my gosh, you're right. Like, they're not going to do that on Twitter, but you might have planted some seeds of, I believed that, and now I can see it's not true. What else have I been believing? It's
just putting
as you say, it's chipping away.
Yeah, that thing about the Telegraph, I wrote about it last week, was that stupid, ridiculous, fabricated story about the family from Singapore who
that was
we can't afford to go on 5 holidays, and they it was completely made up.
£15 a year.
Yeah, the gardener, 15 quid, so they had to cancel him. And they were earning over £500,000 each. But the fact that it was so detailed and so much analysis had gone into this family that lived in Singapore, then New York, and then they were in London. But then after a year, Ipsos finally went, oh, actually, this isn't correct. You must put out a correction on your front page. But when I scrolled down, and it was like 8 scrolls of a page to get to it, I think I said in my thing that I wrote, and it just said correction. That was all it said, and it was under the UK's best bran flakes. That was the article above it, but it didn't have any detail. So that was all they were required to do for 24 hours, was to put Telegraph correction on the front page, and nobody's ever going to read it. As you say, that's just crazy. So
I know. I mean, I a similar one. So I'd seen people sharing this headline. I'd missed it at the time, but saw it more recently, that the Trocadero in London was going to be turned into a mosque. And the Daily Mail, the Express, Daily Mail, Express and Telegraph all ran with a similar headline that the Trocadero was being turned into a mosque. So, obviously people, this is outrageous.
It's prime retail estate. What do you mean?
And it's, the Trocadero is owned by a Muslim billionaire. He owns a lot of real estate
in
the West End. And obviously this was, very upsetting to the Telegraph readers. But when I dug into it, it was basically the cinema that was in the basement that hasn't been used since 2006 is now going to be turned into a community space and prayer room, a Muslim prayer room.
Yeah.
So it was a 3-story mega mosque. So what it actually is the entrance is currently a vape shop. It's round the back. It's
of course
horrible.
It is.
So the vape shop is going. You will walk in through the doors. You will immediately go downstairs, and then you're going into the cinema that has a mezzanine level. So that's what makes it 3-story mega mosque.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
It will take up less than 1.5% of the Trocadero. And when those headlines were written, they knew that because they'd seen the planning documents. I spent hours with these planning documents. But the articles all went out in the July 2023, I think. By October, the online articles, the headlines had changed to part of the Trocadero, mosque, going into the Trocadero. And then they all had the correction, the first paragraph that said, this has been corrected. We initially said it was the Trocadero. It's not, it's part of it. But it wasn't published as a separate article. It was the original article that was just updated online.
Just edited,
so everybody who saw it when it first came out would have read it once. They're not going to go back 3 months later and see if it's been updated. The story's been and gone. No one's ever going to see the update. And it's just... It's crazy. The more you dig into this stuff, the more examples you see. It's like, people don't realize that, what they're seeing can change. An article, a headline can change over the course of a day or over the course of several months. And unless you go back and you check, you don't see that.
You won't know.
And what you see and what someone else sees, you might have read the same article, but read it 2 days apart. You're actually got different information.
Yeah. So I'm writing, hopefully going to publish on Wednesday an article about our regulatory bodies and how they're completely unfit for purpose nowadays. And it speaks to what you're saying, because IPSO, Ofcom, whatever, all of them can't move quick enough to keep up with, the as you just said, if an article's gone out and then it's just edited, does that count as a correction? Does that then make it fall within the sort of regulations? It shouldn't, but it seems to be that's the way it works. So that's what I'm working on at the moment. Hopefully get out this week, but it's
Because
who
in
watches these guys?
in the olden days, if a newspaper got something wrong, firstly we all saw it. If a newspaper had something on their front cover, that might not be the newspaper you read, it might not be your own, political leanings or whatever, but everybody could see it and everybody could say, actually, that's not true. And then they would have to print a retraction and it would be there in the paper for everybody to see.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And the problem now is we don't see what everybody else is seeing.
No,
so people can't sort of debunk everything because what's coming up on someone else's algorithm, if you don't see
totally
it, you can't counter it.
I know. It's bizarre.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really kind of, it is. It's a really worrying kind of progression in our technology that's sort of allowing, we've basically become the Wild West online. I mean, there is no policing of anything online, really.
There's no integrity in journalism, in MSM anyway. That's literally why we all exist.
Yeah.
Online. I don't mean why we were born, obviously. But why we're here talking today is because of the erosion of public trust, because you can't trust any of the MSM.
No.
And you should be able to by fucking law. You shouldn't have to legislate for it, but apparently we do.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Well, again, the driving forces have changed, haven't they? It's no longer about sort of informing and educating people. It's
about making money.
It's getting clicks because that's how they get their money, is online advertising.
Yeah, exactly.
And, so therefore the headlines have to be clickbait to get people to read them. And, the more cross you can make people, the longer they'll spend reading, the more likely they are to comment, etc.
But don't you find
driving forces?
Yeah, but don't you find we've got to a stage where people don't even bother clicking? They just read the headline and then that's all they need to know, and they're immediately outraged. And so you end up with like furious comments about one headline. And then actually, if you read the article, the headline may be clickbait, but they might go into more detail where LBC are good at this. They put out a clickbait headline, and then their article on their website actually isn't anything to do with the headline. They do it quite often, LBC. But people don't bother anymore. They just, the headline's enough now, which is even worse.
The Daily Mail is classic for that. You've got your headline, and as long as you scroll past the 14 paragraphs that are full of, Tory MPs said this is outrageous and, et cetera, and then all the blocks of photos and then all the links to other articles. Once you get right down to the bottom, it will then say, actually, this wasn't what happened at all.
Yeah. This is all based on guesswork. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. But at least with the Daily Mail, people can click on the headlines, because when you've got the Telegraph, it's all paywalled.
Oh, yeah.
Paywalled.
So,
I know.
The headline is what the vast majority of people will see. And, I find it, I would probably say, 8 times out of 10, I can debunk the headline using the article. Like that's all I need.
Yeah, exactly.
I will go away and I'll fact check more and I'll dig further into it. But the debunk is almost always in the article itself. But they rely on the fact that people aren't actually going to click on it.
I had the exact same situation this morning when the Telegraph put out a headline about Nigel Farage claiming victory over YouGov. Actually, nothing of the sort happened. He didn't get any victory. And YouGov have even corrected him online, saying, this is bollocks, mate. What you're saying is not true.
We've changed nothing.
He said that we've forced YouGov to change their data, sort of processing the way they display their data. YouGov went, no, you haven't. But in the Telegraph article behind the paywall, as you say, right down the bottom, it says, actually, YouGov already do this. They've been doing it since 2024. It's like, it's just such an absolute rage bait. It drives me mad.
Yeah. Well, the one I did last week or week before was about, I don't know if you saw it, 67 dog breeds were going to be banned in the UK.
I know.
So that started in the Times, actually, not the Telegraph. And it said, Queen Elizabeth's beloved breed, the Corgi, one of 67 breeds that's going to be banned. And the Telegraph then said 67 dog breeds to be banned in the UK. Is your pooch on the list? And again, the beginning of the story is all about how there's these new guidelines and it's going to lead to bans of dogs. And they had to sort of critics and, according to critics, blah, 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 blah. And then you get further down and then you get the people who are implementing the guidelines and the chairman of the Kennel Club both going, this is not true. We don't have a list of breeds we're going to ban. This isn't targeting breeds. It's targeting individual breeders and asking them to breed from dogs that have less extreme, the kind of squashed faces or teeny tiny
malformations.
Yeah, basically.
Genetic disorders. And
and ironically, when I ended up looking into this, it was previous Daily Mail articles that gave me most of the information on these extreme conformations, because they were writing about how awful it was that dogs were being bred to have these extreme conformations. But then suddenly they're putting out an article that's like, your dog's going to be banned. And of course, the comments were, the Muslims are banning dogs. And it was like, what? This has nothing to do with any of it.
Bear in mind, half the breeders you're talking about are on the board of the Kennel Club. I'm just saying.
But that's why it was so ironic that even the chairman of the Kennel Club was quoted going, this isn't true. This is not what's happening. But yet having that quote in the article didn't stop them having the headline saying, this is what's happening. It was just, it's wild.
It's mad. Is that what then led into the headline that I saw, which was late last week, I think? The Greens are going to execute your dogs. Because I think something like Zach Polanski was calling for dog licenses, and then it spiraled into the Greens are going to execute your dogs if you don't get a dog license. Like, what?
Oh, almost. Yeah. Well, I mean, what's sad is, like with the Daily Mail headline, is there was a lot of genuine fear. People commenting, going, well, my dog's on that breed and he's lovely. Like, why would you? They were thinking, well, they're going to be banned for being dangerous. And it was like, my dog's lovely. But also
the ones who can't breathe.
But people were genuinely fearful when they saw their dog breed on that list, that this was going to be they're going to come and take your dogs from you because they're going to be banned. And it's just so irresponsible, the sort of, the worry and what have you that it caused. As I say, not to mention the whole it's all the Muslims and they're all banning your dogs thing, which is like a whole, there's a whole big thing, which they're not doing. If anyone is interested, no Muslims are banning dogs anywhere. It's not happening.
And nor is Zach Polanski going to come around and shoot your dog in the head.
No,
definitely
Christy
not.
might.
Christy might do. Right. I'm aware of the time, so I just want to ask one more question, if you don't mind, about Iran, because I've got Sky News on over there, and it says President Trump, Iran has literally been obliterated.
That means Tel Aviv's been obliterated, just FYI.
Well, it doesn't...
It's projected.
I listened to him a minute ago before we started, and he was saying that... I can't even remember what he was saying, but he was just lying. He lies and lies and lies and lies and lies, and it's just all lies.
Yes.
How can that even be sort of remotely countered? Because that's now the strapline on Sky News, and people will look at that and go, oh, great, the war's over. Trump said we've won the war. And like,
do you know how big Iran is?
Yeah. I mean,
just for a start.
It blows my mind that we are a year and a bit into his presidency, and every single thing he said, largely, is just not true. And then they all of the media reported as Trump says da 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 da, and just sort of unquestioningly, because they feel like if the president says something, it's newsworthy. But yet they haven't sort of caught on, or don't care, I don't know which, that Trump saying something, that's not newsworthy. Trump says a lot of things. Trump told us that
all the time
Iran's nuclear capability had been completely destroyed a couple of months ago.
Last year. Yeah.
Three times they've 100% destroyed everything.
Yeah. And now, Trump having a nuclear weapon is the reason why they had to go in. It's like, but the same newspapers that reported him saying Iran's nuclear capability is being destroyed, says Trump, are then reporting that Trump's now going, well, they're about to have a nuclear weapon that they were going to destroy us with. And it's like, when do you,
they weren't, but now they are.
And I was reading an article, and it was sort of, deeply kind of, well, Trump seems to be, holding his cards close to his chest, and, what's he thinking? It's like, no, that like, you cannot have watched the last year and think he's holding anything close to his chest, or that there's any strategy or
Plan.
that he's
Subtext.
thinking
Yeah.
anything beyond what he's going to do today. And
Yeah.
To
you
stay
know,
out
again,
of prison.
yeah, it's not, again, it's not like being conspiratorial here. You just have to look at all the things he said that completely contradict each other and go, why is the media still treating him and his presidency as if it's a normal presidency?
Yeah,
as if it's normal for a president to announce to the world that he's bombing Iran on Truth Social. Like that is not normal, and he shouldn't be treated as such.
Yeah.
I
I
genuinely want to know how every single person who's ever been in a room with him for like the past 40 years has said nothing about the fact he's clearly a rapist and a paedophile. Got to be careful because the algorithm, but you know what I'm saying. People, our Prime Minister is happy to walk into a room with an adjudicated rapist and pedophile and do business with him. And if people want to know why women are still getting attacked and why violence has never been worse, it's because people keep their fucking mouths shut and pretend that they don't want to get involved when they should. That's how these people manifest. Just saying.
Yeah, I know.
Don't want to cause any ructions. He's a fucking rapist and a paedophile who's gone on and clearly murdered people. I'll say it. I'll risk him taking me to court.
Not me, please.
But people are quite happy to operate and do business with him. Fucking no. You don't work with people like this and then they don't get a foothold and get worse.
No.
And if you don't, here's what happens.
Yeah. I know. I just don't like the way, like you just said, it's being framed as pretty much everything he says is factual. I saw Andrew Neil and Grant Shapps today come out and said, "Oh, it's really good that we're not joining the war in Iran." When 2 weeks ago, the pair of them were basically baying for blood to go into Iran, like Grant Shapps and Andrew Neil specifically. It's like, what? But this is cognitive dissonance that seems to have become acceptable in the media now. Is like, you can say one thing, contradict yourself the next day, and then the next day, and then the next day.
They live in a world of utter delusion.
Yeah.
And they don't, and it doesn't matter to them. That's the problem.
No, and you just think, how are you not embarrassed?
Yeah, exactly.
To say that when everyone is responding, going, "Hang on, this is what you said like 3 days ago."
Here's your tweet. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
where's your shame?
You know, I spend my entire life being terrified that I'm going to put something out there that then turns out to be wrong, or you know that I'm going to be correct. You're not terrified I'm being corrected. I'm okay being corrected, and if I'm corrected, then I will own it, and I will kind of go, okay, this was the information I had at the time. And you know, actually I didn't know this and now I do. Thank you for letting me know, and I will put something out to say that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's like, it's one of my biggest fears is someone coming and going, no, actually you're wrong and here's why. And yet these people day in, day out are putting this stuff out that it's like, how are you okay with that?
I know.
Yeah.
I find Dan Hodges of the Daily Mail to be the largest proponent of that kind of circular logic of saying one thing and then contradicting himself literally 3 hours later.
Yeah, he's a funny one because occasionally there are times on certain subjects where I'm like, oh yeah, no, I do actually agree with Dan Hodges, which is quite uncomfortable.
I agreed with him once last week.
Yeah,
I follow him on Twitter.
You're like, ooh, how did that happen?
Interact.
Like but then there are other people who just never put out anything. You know, the Julia Hartley Brewers or whatever. They will never put out anything ever. I've never agreed with her in my life on anything.
No, I don't think
she has a mission to put out.
It's a big stress grape.
Whereas at least with Dan Hodges, he does. You do feel like he gets it
every
right
now and again.
Sometimes.
Yeah,
every now and again.
I know. What's the time we on? Right, I think. Yeah, we're nearly at an hour. So I think we should wrap that up now, if that's all right with everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was brilliant. Thanks, Emma, for coming in and chatting.
Indeed, thank you.
Yeah.
And can I just compliment Emma on her fabulous colour coordination? You look fabulous.
And it wasn't deliberate either. The nails were done last week. And then I put the top on, and then about an hour before we recorded, I was like, oh my God, I match.
Nice.
Look gorgeous.
What about me?
Thank you very much.
I've got a green T-shirt and a green watch. What?
Oh, there you go. We're all at it.
You look black. Your
That's
T-shirt's
green.
black.
The T-shirt does look black.
Yeah, well. Anyway. That's
okay,
just me,
Dom,
yeah.
it's green.
It is green. Oh, that went a bit weird. Anyway, right, yeah. So thank you very much for listening and watching.
Yeah, thanks, Emma.
I'll get this out in the next couple of days, and we'll publish it widely over social media, and we'll link to you, Emma, of course. So yeah, really appreciate you coming in and chatting, and welcome back anytime as well. So
absolutely, thank you for having me on.
No problem.
Please like, share, subscribe, and go and find Emma on Substack.
Substack
and Twitter.
But we'll have the links. You can click on the links in the show notes. So yeah, cool. Right, with that, we'll say goodbye, and thanks a lot for listening. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.